everybody doing? It's Admin Paul, part of the Facebook team for Newcastle Fans TV. And for those of you who've been in the private group, I'm in very, very familiar surroundings, out and about, travelling up the motorways and back routes, and it certainly is a back route at the moment. Goodness me, I feel like I'm on the top of the world. I'm at Burn Up at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a weekly roundup of all my ramblings that I do in the private group right here on Newcastle Fans TV. There's extra good stuff, and I would love it, just love it, if you were able to like the video and also subscribe as we try and grow the second channel. So yeah, looking back at the past week at Newcastle, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, the good stuff, the bad stuff, all in one video. So yeah, and first thing to discuss this week is the fact that it's now, what, 2 weeks, and Newcastle, despite being the very, very last club to grow a set and contact their supporters about refunds, we still haven't actually managed to contact season ticket holders. The club said that this week they would contact single match tickets, so for the FA Cup game and Sheffield United game that have gone, they have done that. Reports from people who have had that say it's a very, very difficult thing to go through, and the club are heavily asking you to put credit towards your future ticketing and that side of it. They don't really want to give you the refunds, but the refunds haven't been sorted on them. But what I find even more disgusting is that season ticket holders, the lifeblood of Newcastle United, and they have not been asked to even send an email out, to send any communication out. No, we had that one very, very rudely worded statement from the club on the back of a fag packet. No apology from Lee Charnley, no apology from the club, and the only man, the man who's left rinsed out to dry on all these things, and I do feel sorry for him, is Steve Bruce. He has got to try and somehow put some sort of public face on this absolute calamity ghost ship that is Newcastle United. But yeah, 2 weeks gone by now and not an absolute thing said about season ticket holders. The season ticket holders who year on year put their hand in the pocket every single month to attend, to commit to the club, and they just treat like dirt, absolute dirt. The other 19 clubs are all home hosed and dry. I've spoken to people from Chelsea supporters, from Crystal Palace, various other people, and they have all said the same. At their club, it's absolutely fantastic. You could have the money back, it could be credited to your account, or it could be donated to a charity who is fighting the effects for this coronavirus. Fantastic. But once again, Newcastle United succeed only in catastrophe, and it's self-inflicted again. They know they've had the money to refund, they just haven't been asked. Typical Newcastle attitude, typical Lee Charnley-esque decisions once again. So moving on in the week that was for Newcastle, and obviously a pretty big thing after the fantastic victory against Sheffield United, that we totally blew them away. I've got Sheffield United mates who were so surprised about the Newcastle that turned up, the movement of the front three. They were lording over ASM, Miggy, and even Joe Linton they were impressed with, and you can see why. Matt Ritchie as well was fantastic. We had great performances across the pitch, a great 3 points, and a great display of attacking football. Our best league win of the season so far, you could argue, certainly the biggest. Then we moved on to Aston Villa. Now, I was surprised that Bruce didn't roll the dice here a little bit and make a few changes, and consequently we've picked up a few injuries, which I suppose was to be expected. They haven't played football in so long, then 2 games within the matter of a few days is a difficult one to be able to to stomach and stuff. So yeah, 1-1 against Aston Villa. I was gutted because I wanted the victory against Aston Villa badly, but 4 points from the opening 2 games you'd take. Just a shame that the goal we conceded, you know, if you get cut open and it's a good goal or a well-worked team move, you hold your hands up. But John Joe and Dubravka, goodness me, they got into all sorts of calamity, and the end result of that was a goal that I think Aston Villa probably didn't deserve, and a point that I didn't think they deserved. I think we were okay for the 3 points, and we would have been okay for them extra 3 points if it wasn't for that hellacious mistake. The two subs, credit again to Bruce. He brought on two subs, Andy Carroll and Dwight Gale. They both combined. Andy Carroll with another assist, number 5 of the season, would you believe, for big Andy Carroll. And the beneficiary of that was a certain Dwight Gale. Yes, the forgotten man. How long is it since he's actually scored a goal? Rob will probably know that. I bet Rob will put it below. But yeah, it was absolutely ages and ages. He's had so many fitness issues and concerns, but yeah, he did the business for us. A decent haul of 4 points in total, takes the pressure and takes us up to 39 points and a point off the magic 40 points, with a game against Bournemouth, who have looked like absolute whipping boys, up next. I just hope that the injuries and the don't affect it too much, and we have the right mentality going down there to their stadium that looks, well, akin to Scunthorpe United's ground, to be honest, doesn't it? It's a bit shocking like for a Premier League ground. And if we do, there's no reason we certainly can't pick up at least that last point that we need to pretty much guarantee it. But to be honest, I think we're all but pretty much safe anywhere, aren't we, on these points that we are at the moment. And then we can start to really gear towards the game against Manchester City. So, continuing on, obviously another week has gone by, and still, I think, is it week 13, week 14? I think it might be week 14 we're into now. I've lost count. My abacus only goes so bloody far. Fucking head's gone, isn't it? It really is. Apologies about the French, but you know, I'm at the stage now where I'm numb with it, you know. It's made me feel like a hostage, claustrophobic at times. It's drained the life force out of me. I'm so glad to be back talking about the football. I can feel my blood pressure rising as we go, and then you've got people like this lad from America who all of a sudden comes out conveniently after Mike Ashley's just had a holiday over there, trying to put pressure on. And I think we're at the stage now where the Premier League looks like a bunch of absolute wet farts. They've had this now for the best part of a quarter of a year, and they still haven't managed to make a simple yes or no decision. It reeks of poor leadership, and it leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So I think the Premier League have to grow a set and make a decision either which way, and either which way they'll have to stand up and justify that decision. I said all along, I think they will end up passing it because they need more cash, more cash into the league will help alleviate some of the problems of some of the other clubs, and will also attract better players means a better product, and of course the Premier League just cream off that top a little bit more. So yeah, I think it'll come. There's been challenges this week from MPs to government. Government have said there's no issues as far as they're concerned. It's not their place to comment on it, and again went on the fact that we do a lot of trade, government to government, country to country, with Saudi Arabia, and the British country is in bed with Saudi Arabia, so you can't be a hypocrite and then just say, oh, but you can't have our Premier League clubs. At the same time, they've just bought a massive stake in BT. They own petrol stations as well, BP, Shell, all that. They've got percentages in that. They own part of Facebook, shares in that, as Disney, you name it, they've got the hand in the pot. So you can't be like this. And I know the fiance of the murdered the murdered lad has come back out again and try to put her 2 pennies worth in. I just find it strange how she doesn't comment about the BT acquisition, the Disney stuff, the Facebook stuff, the Uber stuff, nothing like that. It's always just about Newcastle United, and there's been also claims coming out that she's got connections to Qatar. It's all very, very political. I don't know, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want to get into the politics, the rights, the wrongs, the this, the that or the other. I just think if you're against something, you're against something across the board and not just selective. Speaking of which, in Saudi Arabia this week, they have been making a few changes, statements coming out of the government, left, right and centre, with regards to BN being unblocked from being able to transmit over in Saudi Arabia. They've also been bidding for football rights as well in the likes of Germany in the Bundesliga. They put statements out saying that they're tackling piracy and websites as well that have streams, illegal streams. And so it does seem like a lot of chatter all of a sudden, and I don't believe in coincidences at all. And this again has screamed out to me over this week that they are trying to put probably the issues that the Premier League have got to bed, and there are discussions happening backwards and forwards. It's just been played out in such a way, and it's been dragged out in such a way that it's actually leaving one of the the Premier League clubs in absolute limbo. We can't really plan, we can't really do anything. The fans are suffering as a result of it. Steve Bruce as well, he mustn't know what his left hand's doing and his right hand's doing. It's all hands on ship. Of course you never hear from Charnley because the man hasn't got a set, let's be honest. And I've said before, the best part of Lee Charnley dribbled down his mother's arse crack. So yeah, moving on into the week for Newcastle United, the takeover, that is just copy and paste. But we did get a little bit of speculation about our first signing of the close season, if you like. That's going to be, by all respected people, journalists, people in the know, whatever you want to call it, Mark Gillespie, a keeper, will be coming in from Motherwell. He's previously been on the books of Carlisle, Walsall, where I remember him playing in a 1-1 draw against Liverpool, and also Newcastle United. Yes, he's a local lad coming home. And it seems to me that maybe somebody is reading our website, and if you've got a few minutes, check it out at newcastlefanstv.com, because on there I spoke about Geordie DNA, and since then we've made quite a few Geordie appointments. So this is another one. He's going to come in as third choice keeper. Rob Elliott is departing, and I'll get onto that shortly. But yeah, our new third choice keeper looks decent, looks good from what I've seen. Is it a gamble? Certainly probably a safer option keeping Rob Elliott, but I think Rob Elliott will turn up with another club somewhere in the region, to be honest. I think he's very happy, he's very settled up here. He's got other family as well who are up here, and they are happy, so I think he's probably not going to want to move to a club a million miles away from where he is at the moment. But I would wish him every success. And of course, welcoming him, Mark Gillespie to the club. Let's see what he can do. He'll get opportunities, no doubt about it. And he's going to have to battle hard to first of all dislodge Carl Darlow, and then start the mammoth task of trying to get the #1 jersey away from Martin Dubravka, which, yes, he made an error at the weekend, but he saved us more times than Batman, Superman, and anybody else you'd like to think combined. So yeah, welcome to the club. Seems like a decent, tidy bit of business. Hasn't cost the club anything, and it shows that the club are maybe starting to plan things out a little bit, doing the basics that they've got to do, the basic bits of housekeeping. Talking about which, we had a load of players released. We knew about Jack Colback. Oh my word, we celebrated at my house. We had a drink or two to toast that money leech leaving the club. He's left. Robbie Elliott's left. A load of youth players have left, like Harker has gone out, hasn't he? And Victor Fernandez. I've got to say, out of all of them that are released, Sterry, etc, the one I was surprised about was Fernandez, but they're getting up to that age now when they're in the 22, 23-year-old. If they're not near the Newcastle first team and not pushing for a place at least on the bench, are they ever going to make it in Newcastle? Probably not. And the best thing to do is to go out there into the Football League and try and find themselves a club. And I'm sure that most of them will find themselves employment in the Football League. Some of them may have to drop out of the the main leagues, shall we say, and try a little bit lower to get the hand back in. You know, think of like what Carl Roberts had to do, that sort of thing. But yeah, wish them nothing but success in the future careers, unless they play Newcastle, of course. And yeah, it's good to see a little bit of housework getting done in preparation for next season. Because believe me, if you stand still in the Premier League, you're moving backwards, as we know all too bloody well. And the other nice little bit of information this week come out connected to the club is regarding Mike Ashley. Yes, that Cockney bastard has once again surfaced on the Newcastle agenda. The man who has literally put the keys in an envelope, posted them through the letterbox, and is waiting for his big fat juicy payday, has been making the news again. In the news that the HMRC are going to be investigating the bastard, and they're going to be investigating him allegedly. I'll put that in just in case he's watching, or one of his little minions is. And yeah, they're going to be investigated by the HMRC over the use of the furlough scheme and the abuse of the furlough scheme. You know, to me, it's not before time. It's not before time. This man makes the rules up as he goes along. He thinks he's bigger than the law. He thinks he's bigger than anyone. He thinks he's bigger than the city. The man has got an ego which is unmatched anywhere. And I'm sure that the furlough scheme wasn't designed for, you know, people who'd forked out bids for £40 million for midfielders not literally weeks ago. It certainly wasn't made, I don't think, for Premier League clubs who had just posted a profit of 30-odd million. And he's basically, in my opinion, abusing a system designed to keep normal, hard-working people in jobs at a difficult time for the country. But he's pushed the boundaries all the time. He's tried to open up. He's tried to pretend that he's a key service and he's all of his staff are key workers. It's ridiculous. The man can still come out and spend £90 million on shares in what was it, Hugo Boss or something like that. And yeah, it'll be great if finally one day Mike Ashley gets what's owed to him, and that is feeling the absolute long arm of the law. Remember that the club, thanks to Mike Ashley and his business practices, are still under a HMRC investigation, which has rumbled on now for the past couple of years. So again, it's another occasion when the HMRC are having to take a major look at Mike Ashley and his shady bastard dealings. And I certainly for one hope that he's locked up in the nearest prison for as long as possible, because I hate the vile oxygen thief. I don't like sharing the same atmosphere as that man, and that is why I trust so little of the information, the little dribs and drabs that do come out of the club. Because let's face it, we support a club that doesn't communicate with its I nearly said supporters, should be customers, shouldn't it? But yeah, don't believe a word he says, that is for certain. So Mike Ashley may be feeling it under the collar very, very shortly, and I wouldn't spend all of that money you're going to get from selling Newcastle quite yet, Mike, because you might need a few quid in the old legal bill. So that is great. So that has been the week that has been so far. Ahead of us today, goodness me, I know we've done well against them recently when we've had a full house at St James's Park, but if ever there was a case of pissing against the wind, today is that quarter-final of the FA Cup and the chance to be in our first semi-final for goodness knows how fucking long. The draw is going to be done today during half-time of the game, so we'll know if we are to be successful who we will be playing at Wembley Stadium. But it's going to be a tall ask. Manchester City, you know, even if they've got to rotate the squad, let's face it, any one of their first 25 will be a star player in our team. We have got question marks over quite a few players. Isaac Hayden, Matt Ritchie, John Joe Shelby are all question marks and doubts for the game, and that is massive. The Haydens, goodness me, Hayden will be a big loss, because I think he's been fantastic and he's more than deserving of a new contract. John Joe's looked lean and mean and really hungry. Ritchie, who played fantastically well against Sheffield United, but we've got the Longstaffs who are available. and we'll give another option. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bentlev involved today. I know which is going to disappoint quite a few. Could it be Steve Bruce playing a few mind games? Well, it could well be, because he did so against Sheffield United when he was talking about Matt Ritchie not being able to play him, and then he did play and he was fantastic. So don't put it past Bruce to be trying a bit of the old Uri Geller style mind tricks on Manchester City, and we need every advantage we can get, because they've literally, it's like when you were at school and you would, you'd pick your mates and stuff when you were picking for football teams, but it's like they're being able to pick theirs first, and we've got all the waifs and strays left over. But the waifs and strays, to be fair, barring that calamity goal that we scored against, conceded against Villa, we've been doing really, really well. We've got some good footballers. We need to keep as many of the main stars fit as possible. This is our biggest game of the season. Forget Bournemouth, forget what absolute galahs, like Mark Lawrenson said. This is our biggest game of the season. We're virtually safe in the league, barring an absolute catastrophic, horrendous turnaround. We should be safe in the league. A chance to win a cup. I'm coming up to 40 this year, believe it or not. I know I look about 18. Don't say stone. But 40-year-old, and I get a tear in my eye thinking about the Intertoto Cup. That says a lot. Now, if we can show the same spirit that we showed when we fought back to get a 2-2 against Manchester City, or when we beat them previously last season, it would be immense. It would mean more to us than it probably does to them. And we have got a great team spirit, so we've got to hope that team spirit, that togetherness, that doggedness gets us through. There's no doubt I'd have felt a lot more confident about things if St James's Park, as it would have been and should be, was full of 52,000 screaming fans giving Manchester City hell, because they don't seem to like coming to Newcastle. But in the strange environment of it being like a little bit of a reserve game or something like that, it could be difficult. But we've just got to get the prayer mats out, park the bus, keep everything crossed, pray to whatever God that you believe in, and hope that we can just, make the impossible come, because I think they're probably the strongest team in the competition. If we can beat them, we can beat anybody, and the dream is alive. And yours truly will be down at Wembley, regardless to what's happening, because I'm just that desperate to be close to the action and to see what's going on, or experience some of it. Who knows what can happen with stadium closures and plans to lift things and all that sort of good stuff. Who knows, but no doubt that today is going to be absolutely huge. I wish Steve Bruce and the lads nothing but the very, very best. I will be heading every ball from home. I shall be tackling every tackle. I mean, I almost picked the telly up and threw it out the window the other week watching the Sheffield United game at Danny Rose. So you can imagine it gets pretty heated when I'm watching the game. So yeah, my head says it's going to be a long afternoon, and we've probably been lucky to get out of it with a reasonable scoreline, the way that they're playing and everything. But does that defeat against Chelsea maybe get them to second question? Does the likes of Aguero missing and Fernandinho missing, does that help? Does it hinder us based on his performances recently? I don't know. But they've got an embarrassment of riches. They could bring in like Gabriel Jesus and all this sort of thing. We just got to hope that the lads give 100%. We're lucky, we get some good saves, and that they have a bit of an off day, and you just never know, do you? That is the beauty of the FA Cup. That is what I'm hanging my hat on. It is the game of the season, and the players have just got to go out, smash it, give it the all. And no, Bruce will probably change a few players here and there to keep it fresh, but if we can keep it tight, maybe put Andy Carroll on up top, maybe have a couple of out tricksters, ASM and Miggy, breaking with pace, then who knows? You've got to be positive, you've got to go for it. I know I've said before 2-1, I'll be over the moon. I'll be doing cart wheels if we manage to pull this one off. I really, really will. So yeah, if you do, look for us to be in a hospital ward near you on Monday. But yeah, enjoy the match. Hope you enjoyed this roundup video of everything that's gone on this week at Newcastle United. So yeah, enjoy it. Keep your eyes across Newcastle Fans TV for all of the great match stuff, including Carl's quick thoughts, which will be on NFTV Extra really shortly, and obviously all the other great stuff, the reactions, the last words, everything else, scoring the players straight after the game tonight. Anyway, stay safe, keep it tuned, have a few cans today, and I'll speak to you later.